right, so we're heading down the trail. One of the things that I really like about this is there's no switching gears. I mean, that is super. Look at that squirrel. Super nice. So you no longer have to worry about putting it in low or putting it in high. And right there, I'm letting out the gas just to see what it does. And it'll almost stop me going down this hill. It's going, let's see if we can get the mile per hour up there. 2 miles per hour down this, and it's maintaining it smoothly. I mean, the smoothest that I've ever had anything go down this hill, probably.
Dad,
and so far, the suspension feels pretty good. What do you think, Will?
I think it's awesome.
You like it?
I like any Kobe.
I know, it's fun, ain't it?
It doesn't matter what kind it is. They're just fun to drive.
They are fun. Guys, this is impressive. I mean, I don't know how it maintains that so well, but I'm in sport mode. Let's see what other modes. We got standard, sport. I did see that on the trail, they told you to put it in tow haul mode and it gave you all the power down low, but it limited your mile per hour. So we're going to put it in tow haul just for the trail ride to see how that feels. Yeah, that's pretty nice.
I'm trying to reach a stick.
Are you? So I got up to 6 miles per hour. Now I'm letting out the gas. I mean, it gets you back down to 2 miles per hour. So it'll maintain itself. That's nice. Let's take it up here and do this flex test and see how it feels on that. And then I want to see how it feels on, bumpy terrain in comparison to this.
Dad,
What?
Is one of my boys gonna launch out?
No.
Well, just in case, I'm definitely just gonna
The throttle's definitely weird. What I can tell you is just like that little incline there that I was coming up. So I want to show you this, and this is nothing major. Just this little incline, like it's probably a 1 foot lip. You can't tell in video, but with a CVT like that, you can manipulate your belt and how you want to drive it. Well, it's almost like I said, it's got a major latency in the time that you actually hit the throttle and in the time that it actually gives you a lot of power. So as far as like how that works on the trail, it's going to be something that you're going to have to really, really get used to.
You broke something off.
Because for, someone that's used to a CVT, it's going to take you a minute to figure out how to use that actual throttle response. It's very, very laggy feeling. Let's see how it feels at higher speeds down this. I mean, to be honest, it feels really good to be a non-piggyback machine. Now, right there, when I went off of that, I could feel it jolt me a little harder than the Xpedition. But this rides extremely well to be a non-piggyback machine. Very, very impressive feeling. So we're going to go off this incline, and I'll show you what it looks like. This is a 2.5 foot drop, but what it's going to do is it's going to kick both of these machines up, and we're going to see how much different it kicks each machine when we get up on this and drop one tire over and let the other one drop off. And I'm going to have both my tires at the farthest highest point, which is usually higher than what we go off of. Usually we go here and here, And we're gonna shoot it right here in the middle and right there. How much further over this way can I go?
1.5 feet. That's it.
How far over this way as I can go?
You could go about another 6 inches.
Up quite a bit, and I could feel the tail. I could feel the tail wanting to kind of shift up and pull itself to where it was. I mean, you've seen how far it lifted that tire off the ground. So also I'm going to show you guys the turning radius of this in comparison to the Xpedition. Like I said, this is a longer machine, so you're going to have tighter transitions you're going to have to do. I can already tell that I do miss the CVT, but I'm not used to this either, so it's just one of them things that you'd have to get used to. Like I said, it's very weird how the throttle works. Xpedition and do the same thing, and I'll go up over there and we'll see how each of them look in comparison. Go back down there where you like.
Found the turtle.
What are you doing, little man?
You're good. Woo!
Those two were about the same. That was identical line, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
As far as were almost identical as how the wheel come up in the filling and everything. So that'll give you guys an idea on how it is. And I'm trying to get it so far over on that my rear end's wanting to go back off in the hole to the side, but that's just the highest point. So let's see on the turning. I can already tell you that I much prefer the CVT for slow driving. It's so much, it just gives you everything right there. Did you switch to comfort mode
I did that on the trail.
Okay.
I feel like I like it on the trails better in comfort.
Yeah. Smoother part.
Yeah.
Pedal. No way I could have done that in the Ranger. The length of it I could tell as soon as I started to go down. And I know a lot of you are going to say, well, if you just gunned that Ranger and did the same thing, it would do it. But you can't see from my field of view, but if I would have tried to turn like that, I would have been so long that by the time I got my front tire up here to turn, the back tire would have been rubbing up against this wall, which would have made it way, way harder. You'd have had a wall on the front and on the rear tire, and then I would have had to back all the way up and turn out and then manipulate myself a bunch more. And like I said, that's hard to show in video, but we'll drive these up here and see how they do on the hill test. The Xpedition seating is one of the main things that if you trail ride a lot, the seating in the Xpedition is far superior to a bench seat. And another thing, I'm excited to see what she thinks about the throttle and how it works, because I can tell the way she's driving it. The CVT, once it's engaged, you just have infinite throttle response. Whereas this one, if you let out and you go to throttle in it, it gives you this, it's a very latent feel. But as far as the suspension on that, I'm very, very impressed with it to not have a piggyback system on it. I think if that had a piggyback system, there would be way more people transition into it and not even buy the Xpedition, because most people aren't trail riding all the time, and it's just one of those things that, you know, the difference between these two is going to be when you get above 15, 20 mile per hour. When you're going slow like this, there's not a whole lot of difference in the suspension. There is if you hit something that jars you real hard or you drop off a ledge, but for the most part, that suspension is very nice. Definitely a huge upgrade over a Ranger 1000 or even a Defender 1000. It's a nice suspension. And like this hill here, if you come up to it and you stopped, you can creep and then stop. Well, when you go to hit the throttle in that, it's just not as instant as this Xpedition is. So, like I said, I think if you was trying to do really, really technical terrain that you would not enjoy driving that Ranger 1500, you would be a whole lot happier in a CVT machine. Now, if you're farming and you're just driving around like you are every day, and you're going between properties, that is a whole lot quieter in the cab, and you don't have to worry about switching gears. Like right now, I'm in low, and I'm going to switch to high when I get to the top of this, if I want to go faster, because in low, this is going to top out at about 25 mile per hour. Whereas that, you don't ever have to switch gears. So on that, all you've got is park, reverse, and forward. Whereas this one, you've got park, reverse, neutral, low, and high. Hold on, baby. We're going up here. You can ride, okay? Come on up here. So that one, you can be going slow. Like if you was farming and you had been, towing something and you was towing it really slow and then you had to get out on the highway, that one you can just keep going. You don't have to stop and transition between gears. It's going to automatically do it for you. If I was farming majority of the time or driving around at my house and didn't use it for trails as much as I did, I would get a Ranger 1500 in a heartbeat. That is a really, really nice machine, and it is very, very capable. And I think a lot of you guys would like how quiet it is in the cab in comparison. What did you think about how the transmission?
Smooth.
Yeah.
I really like sitting up higher, like the farm.
Yeah. How did you feel about the throttle response in it?
Good.
You felt like it was good? You didn't notice any lag in how you would get on it and then it would?
I didn't.
Huh.
You?
Yeah, what I notice is like when you go to gas it, like if you're just going up to something and then you go, like if you're stopped and you go to push the throttle, it's almost like it's a few seconds before it actually gives you power.
So there's no high or low in this?
Right. It's a automatic transmission. So that's the nice thing about it. And that's what I was telling them. You just put it in forward or put it in reverse and then you literally just go. You never have to stop. You never have to switch gears. You can manipulate a lot of your throttle stuff with just the drive buttons here. And you've got tow, you've got standard, sport, and comfort mode.
I didn't know if I needed to move that around or not.
No, you're good. We can turn the all-wheel drive off.
Uh-huh.
But, I was telling them that the suspension didn't feel vastly different at slow speeds compared to this. Right. It was when you get in higher speeds is when you could tell it. But this has a whole lot of ways it can travel, and that shock is huge. Look at that. And it goes up in there a good ways. So this has a much, much bigger shock than a Ranger 1000 or a 1500. And you can see these two here at the look of them. But like I said, on a trail, this is a longer machine, a taller machine, especially if you go and you put 32s on it, 33s, you're going to be even taller. So keep that in mind when you're looking at these, because there's a lot of places where even we have hit our roof. So you're going to have to do a lot more tree clearing if you've got something like this going down the trail compared to this. Your body and stuff, you can see they're about the same as far as how the body is. But like I said, you've got all the length that this has, and this is a shorter wheelbase, and your cab height's shorter. So just keep those in mind. Both of them have arched A-arms, which is really nice from factory, you can see. And these are actually arched way higher than what this is. Hopefully this helps some of you. She didn't really notice it in the throttle like I did, but just like the race, when we was racing, when you gun this thing, it's not as responsive as a CVT, and you cannot manipulate the throttle when you're trying to creep slow like you can with a CVT. And I've seen a ton of people on the forums say the same thing. So that's just something, like I said, it's not something you can really transition in video that well, but if you think about how we was racing and we would take off and I would gun it and then it would be like a 2-second delay and then it would pull real hard. Well, imagine if you're pulling up to a ledge with this front tire and your back tire is going to hit a ledge. When you go to hit the front one, you're going to have to give it a lot of throttle. And then if you go and you've got to let out on the other one, it's just not going to be near as smooth as a CVT is, in my opinion. And I think a lot of you, if you drove this, you would think the same thing. But like I said, if you are farming and trail riding a couple of times a year, you'd love this machine. It's extremely smooth. And I think if you put a set of 32s on it and a 5+2 rim, that it would be excellent, because the bigger your tire is, the softer the ride. So if you put a 32 on there, you're going to have an even better ride on this machine because your tire is the first thing to take impact. So that's the first shock that you've got in a vehicle, and then it goes into from there. So keep that in mind. Something else cool I want to show you guys. Look at this little pocket they put up here. You can put your phone in that. Look how handy that is. That is so handy. And it fits my iPhone 16 Pro Max. So you could put any phone in there. I mean, the layout in this is super nice. I mean, this is going to be a really good selling machine for Polaris, no doubt. All right, so we're going to do a decibel meter reading in this. What I want you to know is before I start the video or start the vehicle, you have to look at the watch, for instance, whenever there's no one talking, and you'll see it be stable. So when I'm talking, you can see it go up and down. But when I'm not talking, it doesn't. So we're going to start this up. Just wanted you guys to know that. Okay, so at idle, here's what it is at idle. So about 63, 64 decibels. We're going to put it in drive, and we're going to go to comfort mode and see what we get at just cruising about 20 mile per hour. So here it is with me getting on it. We're running about 23 at about 3,800 RPM. 71 decibels. Here's 4,600 RPM. So about 70 decibels, 72, 73 decibels is all this really gets at, unless you're just really getting on it. It is very quiet in this cab. I mean, very quiet. It's so much nicer driving this, especially if you go on the road and stuff, not having to switch gears and everything. This gives you a huge advantage over a CVT machine. It's able to put power to the ground without going so high in RPM, which makes it really smooth and really nice. All right, so we're in the Xpedition. I'm going to show you at idle. Remember, you've got to watch when we're not talking. So 56, 57 decibels, not bad at all when you're, you know, cruising around or sitting there still. But this thing gains RPM quickly. So we're going to see. Let me put the RPM up here so you can see it. Let's see, let's get the, there we go. So you can see the RPM and speed right here. All right, so right now, at about 10 mile per hour, Willow. 9 or 10 mile per hour is about 65. So you can see the Ranger, even getting on it, would only get up to about 78 decibels. So when you're getting on this and you're running 30 to 50, 60 mile an hour, this thing revs. Mine doesn't have the clutch update, but from everything and everybody I've talked to, it drops your RPM about 600 to 800 RPM over the rev range. and it is a lighter weight clutch. The little weights in your clutch that sling out, so it pinches at a lower RPM. So if you're wanting an Xpedition that's quieter, you can do the clutch update, but you will lose a little bit of pep in its step. It's probably still going to be faster than the Ranger 1500.